me bring that question across to Dr. John Harrison. Dr. Harrison, apologies for the intermission in this point, but if we can bring in into what the Ayatollah has said, that if there has to be lasting peace in the region, then the United States and its allies need to get out of the Middle East. Is that a charge which the United States is willing to accept?
Well, first of all, I'm actually based here in the region, so the conflict has quite a bit of personal interest for me. But no, the U.S. has been involved in the region, as many countries have, for decades. This is both, it's more than just energy. There's a geopolitical interest here as well. And it's unrealistic. The region, other than Iran, the region doesn't want it. The U.S. has been changing its position and, in fact, has been trying to reposition itself away from West Asia to other parts of the continent. So I think that's an unrealistic understanding of how the world works. I get why Iran would say that because they don't like the challenge. They don't like to face an alliance of nations against them because it interferes with their interests. But if Iran wants peace in the region, it has a lot to say in that. We have to remember that it was Iran who launched the attack against Israel in April, and it was Iran who launched the attack last night. So it's Iran who can control its proxy in Lebanon and have Hezbollah meet its requirements that it has been faced since 2006, when the UN General Assembly said the Security Council said that you have to withdraw from above the Lanti River. So, I think there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but hypocrisy and politics seem to be synonymous terms. So I don't think Iran should be held to a standard on hypocrisy that no one else is. But they are in an existential threat right now. The Israelis have proven once again that their intelligence services are able to strike sort of at will, both in Iran for the last number of years, but also against major proxies for Iran. So it's really their choice. If they don't want to escalate and if they want to be taken seriously.
With all due respect, Dr. Harrison, with all due respect, you mentioned that Iran feels a bit challenged, which is why it's crying foul. With all due respect, that's exactly the response we seem to have got from the Western world in the last 24 hours. Let's be honest, for much of the last 1 year, especially in the last 1 month, Israel has been pounding civilian areas, trying to target rebels, whether it be Houthi rebels or Hezbollah in neighboring nations. But there has been a significant civilian loss here. Yesterday was the first time in many days that Israel was directly at the receiving end of airstrikes. And yet then we see these voices of condemnation and outrage coming in from Western powers, including the United States. Isn't there a basic hypocrisy at play there?
Well, but remember how this all started on October 7th. One of Iran's proxies launched an invasion of a member of the United Nations. They committed acts that under normal circumstances would have been considered war crimes. The Israelis have a right to defend themselves. The proportionality here is not that a nation state, a member in good standing of the United Nations, went to commit any war crimes. The groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, and to a lesser degree the Houthis, intentionally put weapon systems within their civilian population. So, these groups have agendas on their own, certainly, but they're also proxies of a larger power. And there are limitations of what those groups can do, but there are also some control that Iran does have. And if they had chosen to, they could have taken any decisions that they wanted to. They chose to escalate both in April and again last night. Certainly, any war, there are multiple parties, and there is no time in a limited session to be able to talk about every single issue that has driven the conflict. But certainly, since October 7th, it has been very much driven by Iran and its proxies. So, if peace wants to break out in the region, Iran has a major role to play in this, and they can claim anything they want. But it is not Western powers that have caused this. It is decisions that their proxies and they have made.
Okay.